What's up, guys? Welcome to another day, another concept. Today we're going to be touching on a very popular book titled How to Win Friends and Influence People. Before we begin, let's go over the 5 lessons that you can hope to learn while listening to this summary. And don't worry, guys, we're going to dig a little bit deeper into these in the duration of this video. So, first lesson, you can't win an argument. Lesson 2, never tell a man he's wrong. Lesson 3, ask questions instead of giving answers. Lesson 4, remember names and ask twice if needed. This is a very key lesson and we'll talk about why later in the video. Lesson number 5, ask in terms of other people's interests. So now that we heard these, without further ado, let's move into the summary. Let's get it. Alright guys, this is my version on the classic summary of the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So, part 1, the fundamental techniques in handling people. Chapter 1, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Criticizing others causes them to go into a sort of defensive stance. Remember that criticism hurts pride. So, in this book, the American psychologist and behaviorist B.F. Skinner actually talks about this concept. And he says that animals, or in this case emotional creatures, i.e. anybody or any people rewarded for good behavior, will learn more effectively and more efficiently than those punished for bad behavior. We also see this in classical conditioning, which I'll talk about later. Chapter 2, give honest and sincere appreciation. In this chapter, Carnegie actually emphasizes the importance of expressing genuine appreciation and gratitude to others. He explains that one of the deepest human desires is the desire to feel important and appreciated. People often respond positively to those who make them feel valued and respected. So remember to honestly praise someone the next time they achieve something. In chapter 3, right? Arouse in the other person an eager want. We talk about the importance of understanding and valuing the interests and perspectives of others in your interactions. By doing this, right, you can expect to build stronger relationships and influence people more effectively. I guess what I'm trying to get to, and the actual key takeaway from this chapter, is if you want to influence and connect with others effectively, you should take the time to understand their perspective. Show actual genuine interests in their interests and demonstrate how your ideas or your actions can fulfill their desires and needs. This is going to make them feel extremely important. And on top of that, this approach can actually help you build stronger relationships and become more persuasive in your day-to-day interactions. Just consider these 3 chapters or these 3 principles the next time that you want to, convince someone or help someone. All right. Chapter 4, be a good listener. By simply just listening, you can bend others to your will, so to speak. In short, you can pretty much sit down for a 45-minute conversation with anyone. Only speak when you're asked for some kind of input and be considered one of the greatest conversationalists to that person. This is simply because when you speak less and listen more, not only can you uncover good information and secrets from the other person, but you also hold a lot more power when you're willing to listen to another person. In chapter 5, we talk about letting the other person do a great deal of talking. And this kind of goes in conjunction with chapter 4. But someone who disagrees with you generally will pay no attention to you when crying for their own expression. People want to feel heard and understood, right? And they will generally speak in a loud, obnoxious manner and use foul language to feel like they're being listened to, right? You've seen this in conversations where people try to talk louder than you or try to talk over you to get their point across. This actually causes anger in others who might be just as immature as that person and will cause aggression from the other party. If you simply stay calm and wait for their anger to pass, as well as make them feel understood by asking engaging questions, they will feel much more inclined to listen to you and might even come to agree with you. This is a very important rule, okay? In chapter 6, talk about trying to honestly see things from the other person's perspective. If you honestly take the time to see things from the other person's point of view, you might in turn come to the same conclusion as that person. Put yourself in other people's shoes to sort of better understand what that person deals with on a daily basis, right? This might even help you become a better listener if you're looking for practice on that end. So in chapter 7, being sympathetic to other people's ideas and desires. Any upset person in this world will feel completely justified in their anger, no matter the circumstance, or it doesn't even matter how right you think you are. So never let it be your first reaction to judge someone. When we're angry, we want to be listened to and understood by someone, generally, right? Women tend to need this more because of their high estrogen levels. So we have a way to read your testosterone and estrogen levels. So your ring finger is actually your estrogen finger, and your index finger is your testosterone finger. See, mines are pretty much balanced. And we'll talk about it more at the end of the video, but you get the idea. Chapter 8. Start with the questions to which the other person will say yes. What does this mean? Well, start with what you agree on, right? This will lead to a more positive and eager-filled conversation, followed by asking difficult questions with unclear answers so the other person doesn't feel trapped, right? What do I mean by this, right? So if you're having a conversation with someone and you don't want to make them feel uncomfortable, or you don't want to put them on the spot, instead of asking him a question like, for example, you're talking to a doctor, instead of asking and challenging their reputation and their knowledge, ask them open-ended, vague questions that they can give you simple answers to. This will make them feel less trapped and will feel like they can speak to you more openly and more freely. All right, chapter 9. Have the other person feel like the idea is his or hers in the first place. People are going to enjoy this feeling because it's human nature. People like to feel like they're in control, right? One of the things you could say is, you know about this topic more than I do. I'd love to hear more if you're willing to explain it. In chapter 10, we talk about appealing to people's nobler motive, right? People will usually do things for two main reasons, right? Number one, the reason that sounds good, of course. And number two, their real reason for doing it. So when we appeal to their highest moral principles, we make people feel like they're in control, right? We don't like to lose our nobler motives, our reasons that sound good. So appeal to these and you're going to be sure to get on that person's good side. In chapter 11, we talk about dramatizing your ideas, and many successful people have done this around the world multiple times. Find ways to glamorize your ideas and make them more appealing to a general niche or group of people. Find a way to visually represent the stakes or what is at risk, and make sure that you're doing this in the correct group of people, right? Steve Jobs was a master at this, and he did it first with the iPod. Do you guys remember the speech where he first introduced the iPod? He didn't advertise it as it having a lot of storage for your songs. Instead, he branded it as over 1,000 songs in your pocket at your disposal at any time. It was virtually the same concept. He's talking about the same exact thing. He just worded it differently and appealed to a large group of people. In this case, people who enjoy music. Show objects for size, speed, and cost. And you want to equate this to dollars. So, for example, you're missing out on one Mercedes G-Wagon every day by not fixing this issue in your company. In a conference room filled with CEOs and other business owners, make the money make sense first, right? Anything that deals with finances, like this example I just mentioned, are going to be especially crucial for retention in a case like this. So in chapter 12, we talk about throwing down a challenge, right? When motivation doesn't work, offer up a challenge or a competition. Nobody likes coming in second place, right? Even people who aren't generally competitive. This is just a human nature thing, and you can't fight it, right? I know I don't like coming in second place, and I know if I was in an environment where I could compete with other people or challenge my skills and put them to a test, I am going to work at least twice as hard to either impress myself or impress the people around me. or just win in general. Part 4. Changing people without giving offense. And for the sake of time and importance, I'm going to be passing over part 3 of this book, and I'll be touching on it in a later video. So chapter 1. Begin with praise and honest appreciation. Avoid being super formal when praising someone because you're going to risk sounding disingenuous. And this is honestly a very common thing in corporate settings, right? You hear things like, hey, you're doing a great job, but fix this. Hey, keep up the good work. You want to avoid these because you sound too monotone and you sound too robotic. And there's people who will see through that. Instead, right, give people honest and genuine praise with zero strings attached. It costs you nothing, but can be of benefit to you and will bring you into a better standing relationship with your coworkers and your peers, right? Chapter 2. Call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. People hate attacks, right? Especially personal ones. Common practice is tension creates resistance, so avoid tension, right? You can say things like, you've done an excellent job working hard, but you could have prevented these careless mistakes. Come at them from a peer's perspective, right? Not a supervisor's perspective. And of course, if a task is slipping, take care of it yourself and be an example. This shows strong leadership traits and will inspire stronger relationships with obviously your employees and your coworkers. Chapter 3. Talk about your own mistakes before criticizing other people's mistakes. This is going to show that that person's mistakes are understandable and that they are under no specific pressure for making that mistake. Obviously, everyone has made mistakes at some point, right? This will in turn cause that person to professionally rise to your level, and it'll automatically make them feel more comfortable, right? And more open. Chapter 4. Ask questions instead of giving orders. Allow others to come to conclusions independently. It gives that person control and it makes them feel more important. Things like, why do you think this is happening, right? What do you think we can do to solve this issue? Or do you think this idea could work? This is going to inspire people to question their ideas and come up with their own answers. Chapter 5. Let the person save the face. What does this mean, right? People crave importance. Preserve people's pride and what they care about, and I promise you that you will have people in the palm of your hand. If you make them feel important and that their opinions matter, of course, right? This chapter it ties hand in hand with chapter 4 in this sense. Chapter 6. Praise even the slightest improvements. Inspire others to continue good work, even if it's small and seemingly insignificant improvements. This is going to level up those around you in the correct direction. Guys, remember that positivity inspires. Chapter 7. Give the person a fine reputation to live up to. If you want to improve something about a person, act as though that trait was already one of his outstanding characteristics, because people are going to want to match that. For example, if you say, man, Jake, bro, honestly, I love the way you are around others. You just inspire people and you're so charismatic. All right, let's be real for a second, right? Don't say something that's obviously nothing like them, but try this and you're going to watch how that one statement will push that person to be more charismatic and inspiring to other people, because they're going to want to match that kind of energy. They see that it grasps people's attention, so they're going to want to use that more. And people are going to pursue this good character and judgment. And if something catches another person's eye about you, you're going to want to act this way a lot more to hopefully get the attention of other people, right? Chapter 8. Make the fault seem easy to correct, right? This kind of goes hand in hand with the last part that we talked about. If you tell someone that they lack the talent and will never be good at something, you have now removed that person's willingness and motivation to do so. Obviously, same goes vice versa, right? If you tell someone that they're capable and have the adequate talents to achieve a specific goal, that person is now going to travel to the ends of the earth to achieve that goal, because now they have the reassurance from a third-party perspective that they're capable. This is basic human nature. Chapter 9. Make the person happy about doing the things you suggest. One way to sound disingenuous is to acknowledge why you want the action up front. Then talk about the benefits you both enjoy. For example, if someone speaks to you only on your interests, it sounds almost suspicious and robotic and disingenuous, right? People are going to see through that. Make the other person enjoy the things that you suggest by tailoring its benefits to that person, or at least a large group of people. As we conclude this exploration of Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, remember that these principles can truly and ultimately transform your life. Applying Carnegie's wisdom can empower you to connect, influence, and make a positive impact in people's lives. As Dale Carnegie said in his book, talk to someone about themselves and they'll listen for hours. So go out, build a meaningful relationship, and remember that your journey to success begins with understanding and empathy. Guys, if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe. You already know what to do. And if you're interested in buying this book or interested in reading it, go down into the link in the description, click on it. It'll be on Amazon and you can get it for $10. It's a cheap investment, and I promise you this book has so much more to offer than what I provided today. Guys, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, and peace.